How many subscribers do you have right now?
220,000.
What makes a video get seen by that many people?
We first focus on the packaging. Does this idea appeal to the person that we want to reach? The videos that we put the most time into just that are the ones that do the best.
Talk about how showing even the things that don't go well.
I can't just show the things that go well. Growing up, playing basketball, I playing on national television, and I blew out my right knee. I think it actually makes the content better if I show the things that don't go well.
Let's talk about the business side of it.
There's very few places where you can go, have your message amplified, and get paid for that. If you can make good content that people enjoy, YouTube is going to want you to succeed.
I have been watching you on YouTube for a few weeks now, and I've just been loving what you're doing on YouTube.
Thank you.
So impressive. Can you tell us a little bit about just a little bit of your backstory? Because it's so interesting to me.
I really stumbled into the YouTube world after growing up playing basketball. I played at a really high level. I was playing on national television in my senior year on ESPN on New Year's Eve, and I blew out my right knee. And that's kind of when my life path kind of changed directions. I wasn't able to go to the WNBA draft, which at that point was just a couple of months away. So I was looking at a year-long rehab. I joined the Harlem Globetrotters to do that rehab and travel the world. And during that time, I got really interested in real estate investing and just trying to figure out like what would my path be to financial freedom. Like I had been so locked in on basketball that I was like, okay, maybe I need to figure something else out. And kind of through that process, a friend of mine and I were kind of doing a little book club and texting each other thoughts each week. And he had read something from James Clear, who's the author of Atomic Habits. And James Clear had said in that weekly email or something, he said, do cool things and document them. And so we started talking about just like social media and YouTube. And I figured, hey, I got some time. I'm doing some cool stuff, like traveling the world, trying to get, this house, trying to get back into basketball. And so that's kind of what made me first pick up the camera.
All of this is so fascinating. And the basketball side, I'm learning a lot in the last few months because I've co-founded a basketball tournament league called
cool.
3XBA. If anybody wants to check it out, 3xba.com. And just being around these athletes. I mean, what I love about it, just on a side note, that I'm pretty sure you're probably the same, is like you're so kind and jovial and friendly. But when you get out on that court, boy, it's like it is so intense. And so I understand that. And for you, I'm so sorry that happened to you.
Thank you. It worked out,
It worked out. Yeah. How long ago was that?
So that was, I believe, New Year's Eve of 2018.
Yeah.
And so a little, less than a year later, of course, the world would change with COVID hitting. And so I had kind of thought about after that year passed, okay, am I going to try to go back to the WNBA? I got one house, we'll go to the WNBA, we'll do that thing. And then COVID hit and I was like, okay, that's too many things are saying, that's not the path for you. And that's when I really just dove into real estate and entrepreneurship and really focusing on the channel.
Yeah. And when your channel started or when you started working on it in earnest, you were documenting what fun thing? What cool thing?
I mean, just everything I could think of. With the Harlem Globetrotters, I got to go to a Golden State Warriors practice and play horse with Steph Curry, right? Like,
as we all do. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that's a pretty cool thing. I got a house hack. So I used an FHA loan and bought a duplex, lived in one unit, rented out the other. I got my down payment paid for through a first-time homebuyer program. So I was like, that's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah.
And then I started, doing business and helping other people with their content. And that's a pretty cool thing. So I was really just anything that was happening that I thought could help other people and that I thought had some value to it was kind of what I was showing.
Yeah. And what I try to teach, or what I do teach people, is that there is an audience for you on YouTube. There are people who want to watch you do things that you may take for granted or that you may not understand is like so interesting to them, like the teaching of it. So what I remember first about you was watching you sometimes with a hard hat on, walking around these different places, like, and you were like refurbishing something or rehabbing something, getting it ready to flip or sell or doing that. And I just thought, I didn't know about your basketball background, but I was like, oh, that's
Hmm.
so interesting that you're just taking us along every step of this and not all the highlights. It's
Right.
not a full highlight reel that's going
Oh
on your
no.
channel. So talk about how showing even the things that don't go well, how that has helped your channel.
Whenever I pick up the camera and whenever I'm doing any type of work, my goal is, hey, I'm on this journey to financial freedom and I'm just documenting it and I'm bringing you along with me. In order for that to be true, to actually be documenting something and actually bringing somebody along, I can't just show the things that go well. And I think it actually makes the content better if I show the things that don't go well. Because I'm the youngest of six kids, right? And so I would always remember, my older sister, she does something and I see her get in trouble and then I'm like, okay, cool, not gonna do that, right? Like I
Yes.
can learn I can learn from other people's mistakes,
Yeah.
right? And I think there's a similar element with my content is like, hey, you can go watch the gurus, the multi-millionaires. I watch them too. There's a lot of great things that you can learn and you can get. They're a couple, if not more than a couple levels deep into the process where they're not really in that day to day of their financial freedom journey. My channel brings something different, right? And I think like that's really valuable because I'm not so far removed that I'm not still making the mistakes. And so I just think that's another level of value that I can bring. And there's channels that I like to watch, like yours included, where it feels like, okay, this person is really connected to what they're talking about, which I think makes it easier to learn.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of people come to me and they want to start their channel or, have more views. And they're focused on really fancy equipment,
Mm-hmm.
everything being perfect. I've had a few people who would not do interviews with me because their hair wasn't right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you look fantastic to me. I know I'm kind of I'm homely, I do my thing because that's
Yeah.
why because the reason I do that is on purpose. Like if I have to go to my studio every time I want to
Right.
film, we're gonna have a problem because I have
Right.
too much I want to get out that is valuable. And you people watching this have too much to offer this platform to
Yeah.
wait on everything to be perfect. So I love that take that you have. And it is, I think if you can stay that connected forever on your
Yeah.
channel,
That would be the goal, right?
that's the goal. How many subscribers do you have right now?
I think we are just at 220,000.
My goodness. And then did that happen fast or was there like a break point or did it happen just very slowly over the past 5 years?
It just happened really slowly. I have not really had any ultra viral long form YouTube videos. I've had a couple of shorts that have done, a couple of million. But in terms of like long form video where somebody's deciding to click on your face and your name and sit there with you for a couple of minutes, you know, there's some people who post their first video and they get a million views. I still haven't had a million view long form
Mhm.
YouTube video,
Yeah.
but I've had consistent tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands over the course of a couple years. And
Yeah.
like that, I think takes the pressure off of, oh, I have to go viral or I have to hit a big number really quickly. It's just like a slow growth and attracting that audience. And then you look up and that slow growth is a lot of people, right? Like I played basketball in front of tens of thousands of people. And I remember we were playing at the Final Four one year. And I look up in the stands, it's a sold out crowd, and there's like 43,000 people in the audience. And I'm looking around like this is a lot of people. I'm
Yeah.
looking at the very top seat in the top corner of the arena. It's like, man, somebody's sitting up there. And then you post a YouTube video and it's like, ah, 40,000, that's nothing. No, that's a lot of people. If
It's a
if you went
lot.
outside on your front porch and were like, hey, I have something to say, I want to share something, and 100 people showed up to listen to what you had to say, you'd be like, oh, this is amazing. Like I'm the next big thing. But when we get 100 views on a YouTube video, we think like it's a failure. So I
Mhm.
think remembering like each of those people is a real person who decided to click on your face. They decided to spend time listening to what you have to say, like that means something, even if the number isn't impressive on YouTube.
Yeah. It's all relative too.
Yeah.
Because we talk about outlier videos, and if you have 1,000 subscribers but you have a video that has 2,000 views,
Hmm.
that's something to look at, and even more when you talk about getting 40,000, 50,000, 100,000 views on a video. What can you tell us that you've learned? Like what makes a video get seen by that many people, especially in a niche that you're in?
Yeah. So whenever I'm thinking about a YouTube video, whether it's for my channel or anyone else's channel, we first focus on the packaging. We first think about is this an idea that is appealing? And I know like Mr. Beast has talked a lot about packaging and about ideas. But from our perspective, we're usually working with business owners or people who are trying to not necessarily entertain, but they're trying to
Hmm.
educate. And so the idea isn't like, can I blow up a giant truck, with whatever, right? That
Yeah.
Mr. Beast type stuff. So we're thinking about like, does this idea appeal to the person that we want to reach? Whether it's solving a problem, whether it's telling about a mistake that we made or a success that we had, can we figure out a title and thumbnail that are going to quickly communicate that and give the person a reason to click? The videos that we put the most time into just that are the ones that do the best, right?
Yeah.
If we go through and we talk about like, okay, the script and what we're going to say and the call to action and all of that stuff, and then at the last minute, we're like, oh, what's the title and thumbnail? Those ones usually don't perform as well. And so
No.
that's what I would say is like the first place to start is, can I communicate that this is a worthwhile use of your time with the title and thumbnail? And then from there, the next thing is like that first 30 seconds. Can we deliver on that promise that we made in the title and thumbnail and get them to stick around for the promise?
Absolutely agree with you. And I just had a call with someone who has a cool, very cool channel. It's helping a lot of people, but they have very few views. I mean, like
Hmm.
7, 10 views, and they
Hmm.
put a lot of effort into it. And so I
Hmm.
said, okay, let me see what I can see from this, just first look. So I click on the first video, and it is a 15-second intro. Really
Yeah.
cool one, a really
Yeah.
cool one, but a 15-second intro that doesn't have a lot of context as to what the video is about. And I said,
Right.
if you cut that, trim and cut in the editor or your next video, just take that out and maybe even make it a transition somewhere.
Right.
It's going to change things for you. So that
Right.
hook, how important is that hook to you? That those first 3 seconds, the first 10 seconds, when you think when
Yeah.
you are once you've had the concept, you have the thumbnail and the title, you know that's the direction you're going. How much effort do you put into that hook?
A lot. So I know some people like to script their YouTube videos word for word. Some people like to use bullet points, but I always say like that hook should be scripted. Like the first 30 seconds should be scripted because it's so important. And then another thing we look at in the edit is how many times are we giving someone something new visually to look at in those first 10 seconds, even, right? If it's just like, hi, my name's Lily. I blah, 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 blah. You just look at my face like, okay, maybe, right? But there's so many inputs that are happening in our lives, on our screens, that we want to not like flash mob someone where they can't keep up, but we do want to have like a level of visual interest, especially in those first 10 seconds. That's really important. And remember, like people are busy. I think having empathy for your viewer of like they're busy, they don't have a ton of time. They in a sea of information have decided to come to you for the answer that they're searching out. I think like having that empathy and delivering on that as well as you can is the best place to be.
Yeah. Did you study YouTube University to figure out YouTube, or was it just all trial and error, or did you work with someone?
I did a lot of studying. There's a lot of channels that I looked at, watched, learned from. But also, I think that this is something that Daniel Priestley, who's a great author and entrepreneur that I like, he says often, is that like entrepreneurship's a team sport, right? And
Hmm.
so there are things that I'm good at and there are things that I'm not good at. And as early as possible, I try to bring other people in to help me with the things that I'm not good at. And so like let's just say editing, for example. I'm not a great editor. As
Yeah.
soon as possible, I hired someone to do the editing, but also own the editing, right? And like be the person who is the expert in that field and drive things forward. I think so many times we think, okay, I need to become an expert in 17 different things in order to have a successful YouTube channel. Well, someone's got to be an expert in those things, but it doesn't necessarily have to be us. So as soon as possible, I hired kind of a team around me. And the way that we structure teams around any of the YouTube channels we help out with is having, yes, the creator, but also the strategist who's going to be like in the nitty gritty of YouTube, and then the thumbnail designer, the editor, and if need be, a copywriter if they're gonna, be a little bit more scripted. But yeah, so I did a lot of researching on YouTube, but then I also tried to pull in other experts to be a part of the team.
Yeah, makes sense. And then your setup, I mentioned purple. I don't know if we were
Yeah,
on
yeah.
or not yet, but the purple is my signature color. All of my shoes are purple
I love
hue.
that.
And it's important, we black girls, we grew up purple is our thing.
Yeah.
Uh, but how did you think about your aesthetic and how you wanted to present to YouTube? And did it change? I think it feels like it
Yeah.
changed recently.
I'm a pretty colorful person, just like you. I don't know that I had a ton of intentionality around what colors were gonna necessarily be my brand colors, but once I landed on something that felt good, I try to keep that consistent. But really, like, I started out in the corner of my bedroom with an iPhone, no mic, and because the back camera is the better camera, I would use that camera, but then I couldn't see myself. And so I got my mom's makeup mirror and I put her makeup mirror there so that while I was filming, I could see myself. And that was my first setup. And then I was like, okay, I need some color on the wall. So I went to like the craft store and I got a big piece of blue paper because that's all they had. And I like blue and I put it on the wall. And I just slowly started adding to that setup. All of these things that I have now, the lights, the mic, all of the camera, just piecemeal, right? It's just one addition every couple of months to get to a new setup. And then watching YouTube University and figuring out, okay, what's the best way to do lights? What's the best way to do this? I think it just goes back to having empathy for your viewer. It's less about do I have the most expensive stuff and more about like, can I create a vibe and an energy that someone's going to enjoy watching? That's kind of the way that I approach it. But I didn't have anywhere near like the setup that I have now at the start. It just comes with practice.
Yeah, I really love that. I love the way that you're framing that because that is what a lot of people do, but I don't think it's articulated the way that you just did,
Oh,
which
thank
is
you.
it does so usually people say you don't need anything. Like I'll say you have
Hmm.
Zoom and that's what's gotten me where I am and you can start there. Or they say, yeah, you definitely need to have this set up because,
Hmm.
it means a lot. But there's a journey.
Hmm.
There's a journey and that journey can be based on what YouTube is actually adding to your life. So in that
Right.
vein, let's talk about the business side of it. I mean, you teach business on YouTube, which is
Hmm.
awesome. What has YouTube given to you in the last couple of years?
I love YouTube as a platform for business owners. One, you get paid to market, right? So, like, there's very few places where you can go, have your message amplified, and get paid for that, right? And I
Yep.
mean that in the sense of like YouTube AdSense. If I go run ads on Facebook, I pay for those. If I go put that content up on YouTube, at a certain point, I get paid for that. But I think, like, as great of a first layer as that is, it's still just the first layer. The real value that YouTube has brought to my business, and I think brings to most people's business, is one, it's the world's second largest search engine. And YouTube is a matchmaking service. It's like Tinder, basically, where someone who's interested in something goes on YouTube and YouTube says, hey, here's some videos about that thing. Like, I don't have to do anything but make videos for the person I want to reach. And YouTube does the hard work of like making that match. And so not only am I getting paid to advertise, I'm also getting people who are going to be interested in my products and services matched with me. And then from there, Google has this study that you need the 7-Eleven 4 rule. That's kind of how people purchase. And if people haven't heard of this study, it's where you typically, before someone makes a purchase, they typically need to spend 7 hours with that person or that brand over 11 different instances and ideally in 4 different locations. Well, the best way to build up, especially those first two, the 7 hours across 11 different instances, is through long form YouTube content, right? Like, even if I just watch one or two of your videos, I may have spent an hour with you today. And then I come back tomorrow and you have a podcast and I spent another 40 minutes and all of that builds up. So that's the third layer, kind of the value of YouTube, is that it warms up the leads for your business for you in a very scalable way. Like, I watched one of your videos where you're talking about, hey, I made this video 100 days ago and it's still getting views this hour. Like right now,
Yeah.
people are watching this video. And so YouTube is actively warming up. People are getting that 7-Eleven 4 time in with you. And then they're just way warmer when they come in to make a purchasing decision in your business. And so I
Mhm.
think a lot of people focus on like, oh, YouTube AdSense will make me money if I start a YouTube channel, which is a great first layer. But there's also those other layers that as a business owner are so, so valuable.
Yeah, and they can happen faster. They can happen day one. You put a
Yeah.
video out. Day one, you're not necessarily going to get monetized on YouTube, but on
Right.
day one, you can conceivably have someone find you
Yep.
or be reintroduced to you who does want to click through to what you have to offer. And
Absolutely.
it can be the thing. And for me, mine is probably at a 1 to 7, 1 to 6 ratio as far as AdSense versus what I make through
Right.
YouTube. It's probably even higher, like lower than that, right?
Right.
I use it for things like editors and things
Hmm.
like that, right? Like I use that as like to reinvest into into the business.
Yeah.
And your offer, so your product that you have or your main offer is, tell us about those so that we can understand on the business side.
Sure. So my business helps people reach financial freedom. We pretty much give information away for free. And so most people will come in through something we call the Self-Funded Freedom Challenge, which is a free 5-day challenge with me on Zoom. But what we charge for in the business is implementation. And so then we help people build out their businesses, whether it's through figuring out what their offer is, how to structure their business, grow a team, or whether it's putting a YouTube engine on top of their existing business.
Mhm.
So at the end of the day, we make a lot of information and help people implement just to help them get towards financial freedom.
And if you put a video up, first of all, when we put videos up, anyone who's watching, when we put videos up, don't think about it as, okay, I put this video up and it's going to convert for me that same day or that
Right.
same hour. It's not that, it's that when people come in and binge your videos, like you said, that 7-Eleven 4, right? They're coming
Mhm.
in and they're getting acclimated to the whole situation. And then they're like saying, okay, I trust you now. It's been
Right.
a few hours with you. I trust you. I want to see what you have to offer beyond this. Because if this is what you're giving away for free, I can't imagine what your paid
Exactly.
services are like. When you put a video up and you send people to something,
Hmm.
or talk about it in your description, do you have any kind of sense of over time how that video does? Like, are you able to tell, okay, if this video did this, I know it's going to lead to this many lead calls or something like that?
Yeah, so we have some different pieces of software on the back end that we're tracking. One of them will help us say, okay, that challenge, for example, it's a free challenge. When I post a YouTube video and I put that link in the challenge, on the back end, I can then see, okay, 10 people signed up for the challenge from that video. 5 people might have signed up from an Instagram story, right? But I can kind of see what are the places
Mm-hmm.
where people are coming in. So I think that's the first piece. And YouTube's good for that first 7-Eleven of the 7-Eleven 4. But then we think about, okay, the 4 different locations. Somebody watches my YouTube video, they're probably more likely to get a short fed to them. So now I've got 2 different locations, long form, short form. And then when they opt into something, now, like you said, they go into an email sequence. So now I pop up on their email. That's 3 times. They come to a Zoom call. Now they're on Zoom with me. That's 4 locations, right? And so we're building up that 7-Eleven 4. But it all starts with that YouTube video. And then we can kind of see the person's journey through the content ecosystem is what we call it. That's, I think, the big thing that most people setting up the YouTube system first, but then having that different ecosystem to get that person into their business on the back end is kind of
Yeah.
what needs to be set up afterwards.
Absolutely. Starting like having this full-on plan. And if you want to get started and you're just a little nervous about how it's going to go or how long you're going to be able to commit to it or any of that, you can start with in the description, book a call.
Hmm.
Just book a call with me. Either I'm going to have a conversation and find out what you need, or it may be a paid call or something like that just to get you started if you don't want to go through all of the other things first. That's what I love about it too. I said to somebody today, it feels pretentious to say, but it's true to me that I think that if like a Shark Tank or even like Oprah came to me and said, "Hey, we want you to do a show," but you wouldn't own the show.
Hmm.
I don't think I would do it because I
Hmm.
have YouTube. And if YouTube went away, that's a whole nother story. And I
Right.
never put all my eggs in one basket, but I feel that strongly about the power of YouTube and the most of the autonomy you have. What do you think though about some of the things that are happening where YouTube channels are being demonetized or they're being taken down? I can think of a couple right now. Do you think that that is just because the people are not following the rules, or do you think that there's something to be worried about randomly?
Honestly, I'll happily say I don't know too much about that. I know that there's some rules around AI generated content and unoriginal content. I don't use any, AI in the production of our content, right? Like it's
Yeah.
it's really just me sitting in my room filming or out and about.
Yeah.
We might help with like some thumbnail ideas and some different editing softwares, but nothing in that realm that's getting people's channels taken down. And so I
Mhm.
don't I don't honestly know a ton about kind of what different channels are going through with that.
Yeah, there's some that are in the business niche that
Hmm.
are getting demonetized, like having dozens, if not more, of their videos demonetized, or their channel being on pause for a few, like the
Mm,
monetization on pause. What we can figure out is that they're either not disclosing that their description links are affiliate links where they get
mm,
commission on some of
Hmm.
it. Like they're not following those very, the small print, or they're making claims about the amount of
Right.
money they can help you make
Right.
if you do XYZ with them. And those claims, somebody is like saying, either the YouTube itself is flagging it or someone is
Right.
doing some sort of flag. It's been a little scary for people,
Hmm.
but it really is. I think YouTube is so incentivized to have us on this platform
Yeah,
and
yeah,
get
that's what I
money
was gonna
for it.
say.
So it's just about like knowing the rules, following the rules, working with guides, like guides who can help you like navigate all of this stuff,
Right.
and just playing it fair, playing it right, not trying to game anything. It's like it's gonna like YouTube will work for you if you put in the work. It's almost like AA. Like it'll work for you if you do the work.
If you work it, it'll work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It will do that. And there's all these people who are trying to do all these hacks and things, and it's like the coolest
Hmm.
part of it is that no matter what your style is, if you're my style, if you're your style, if you are walking down the street with the selfie stick or holding the phone, as long as that content is
Hmm.
valuable and helpful to the other person on the other side of the screen, you can do well on YouTube.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I really like what you said about YouTube being incentivized to work with creators because that's another reason I love the YouTube platform is when an ad is shown, on a video, right? The company, let's just say Coca-Cola, pays so that you see a nice refreshing Coke before you watch a video of what they pay. Some of that goes to YouTube, some of that goes to the creator. And so the more views you do, the more times people see that ad, the more Coca-Cola pays not just you, but also pays YouTube. So like the incentives are aligned for YouTube to want to get the most people watching the most videos on the platform. And I don't think that all platforms are built that way. And so I love YouTube in that sense. And if someone's like afraid of, okay, is YouTube gonna give me views or is YouTube gonna demonetize me here? I would say the best thing that you can be is authentic. There are so many people out there making huge claims like, oh yeah, I'll make you $100,000 in 100 seconds. It's like, okay, right? Like we have become so numb to those
Yeah.
giant claims that one, platforms like YouTube have to start kind of cracking down on it, but two, people just ignore it. And so I think the more authentic you can be and the more you can keep in mind, if you can make good content that people enjoy and get them watching more of your videos for longer, YouTube is going to want you to succeed, right? And
Mm.
that's really what it comes down to.